Dear students, I welcome you all to this lecture on Aristotle's theory on a revolution. The main objectives of this lecture are to explore Aristotle's perspective on revolution, to investigate the origins of revolutions, to discover strategies for preserving constitutions, to analyze the preservation of different forms of government, and to recognize how Aristotle's theory on revolution can inform contemporary political discourse and provide valuable insights into the dynamics of political change. Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher whose profound contributions have influenced the realms of ethics, politics, and philosophy, is often hailed as one of the earliest thinkers to systematically explore the dynamics of political change and revolution. His enduring insights into these subjects, as articulated in his seminal work Politics, offers a rich tapestry of wisdom that transcends the boundaries of time and continues to inform contemporary political discourse. Aristotle's theory of revolution is a compelling exploration of the causes, consequences, and remedies for political upheaval, shedding light on the intricate interplay of human nature, governance, and social order. In this lecture, we will look into Aristotle's perspective on revolution, delving into his nuanced understanding of the factors that drive societal transformation and the measures that may safeguard the stability of various forms of government. Aristotle believed that the best form of government is polity, a form of government that strikes a balance between democracy and oligarchy. In this context, he discussed the idea of revolution, especially when a government fails to meet the needs and expectations of its citizens. Aristotle's fifth book of Politics highlights a wide range of factors leading to revolution within various government structures. It is, however, important to note that in his view, the root of all revolutions ultimately lies in a state of inequality. Aristotle's notion of inequality should be interpreted as being linked to the comparative political and economic positions of individuals, which he referred to as equality proportionate to desert. Hence, inequality arises when either groups with political privilege lack corresponding economic advantages or groups with significant economic advantages lack corresponding political privileges. This incongruity leads to a prevailing awareness of inequality which prompts a quest for a solution through revolution. Aristotle's view suggests that disparities between various societal groups themselves are not the primary triggers for revolutions. Instead, he posits that revolutions are more likely to occur when there exists an incongruity between the political and economic statuses within these social classes. In essence, Aristotle's theory can be distilled into the idea that whenever there is a disconnection between political and economic power, it increases the likelihood of a revolution taking place. His comprehensive theory finds practical examples in his analysis of revolutions occurring within democracies, oligarchies, aristocracies, monarchies, and tyrannies. In the context of democracies, Aristotle contends that revolutionary shifts often stem from political assaults on the wealthy by demagogues. These provocations lead to the unity of the propertied class, ultimately resulting in the overthrow of democratic institutions. Aristotle's theory on revolutionary transformations within oligarchies revolves around the division of political and economic authority in various city states like Massilia, Istros, and Heraclea. He observed that oligarchies experienced upheavals because a limited number of individuals from the economic elite held official positions, leaving many others excluded. These excluded members fomented disturbances until they gained access to public offices. Consequently, in Massilia, the oligarchy was reshaped into a system of governance resembling a polity. Aristotle observed that akin to oligarchies, aristocracies also underwent revolutionary shifts due to the centralization of political authority within a wealthy elite, while other economically influential groups lacked proportional representation in government. An example of this dynamic can be seen in Sparta, where a group known as the Parthenia, comprised of illegitimate sons of Spartan peers, conspired to overturn the existing government. Their plot was uncovered, leading to their exile to Tarentum. In aristocracies, Aristotle believes revolutions are incited when only a small segment of the population enjoys the privileges and honors of the state, a factor which is common to oligarchies. Notably, aristocracy itself is a form of oligarchy characterized by the rule of a selected few. Revolutions occur when the majority of the population believes they are just as capable as their rulers. Aristotle, in his book 5 of Politics, gives a detailed analysis of causes and preservation of revolution under different forms of government. Now, let us proceed to dissect the causes of revolution and examine how these upheavals should be addressed. Aristotle's argument revolves around the emergence of democracy from the belief that when individuals share equality in one aspect, they tend to see themselves as equal in all other aspects. Their reasoning stems from the idea that since men enjoy equal freedom, they assume this implies overall equality. In contrast, oligarchy is rooted in the notion that those who are unequal in one specific area, particularly in terms of property, perceive themselves as unequal in every aspect. This extrapolation leads Democrats to demand absolute equality, as they believe that since they are equal, they should be equal in all aspects. Conversely, oligarchs who consider themselves intrinsically unequal make excessive claims that further exacerbate inequality. The problem arises when neither party secures their expected share in the government as per their preconceived notions. This dissatisfaction becomes a catalyst for revolution. This situation can give rise to two distinct types of changes. The first involves modifications to the constitution when individuals attempt to shift from their current form of government to another. For instance, they may aim to transition from democracy to oligarchy or vice versa, or to shift to constitutional government or aristocracy and back again. The second type of change does not impact the constitution itself, but centers on the individual's efforts to assume control of administration without altering the existing form of government. In all instances, inequality serves as a trigger for revolution because it sparks a desire for equality that ignites rebellion. When comparing democracy and oligarchy regarding their susceptibility to revolution, Aristotle suggests that democracy is a more stable and less prone to upheaval than oligarchy. He argues that oligarchies face a dual risk: internal conflicts among the oligarchs themselves and clashes with the general populace. In contrast, democracies primarily face the risk of disputes with the oligarchs. Internal discord among the people in a democracy is far less likely, making it the most secure among the imperfect forms of government. Aristotle is of the view that revolutions arise when individuals believe they are equal to those who have more, or when they think they are superior but possess same or less than their inferiors. This mindset, whether justified or not, drives both inferiors to seek equality and equals to pursue superiority. And it is this state of mind that sparks revolutions. Revolutionary motives stem from the pursuit of personal gain and recognition, as well as the fear of dishonor and loss. Additionally, other factors that can lead to revolution include insolence, fear, excessive predominance, contempt, carelessness, and a lack of concern for minor matters. The role of insolence and avarice in fomenting revolutions is quite evident. Aristotle contends that when those in positions of authority become arrogant and excessively greedy, they engage in conspiracies against each other and even against the very constitution that empowers them, seeking personal gains at the cost of either individuals or the public. Likewise, individuals who feel dishonored and witness others receiving honors are inclined to revolt. Furthermore, a situation that can lead to revolution is the presence of excessive power held by one or more individuals exceeding the capacity of both the state and the government. This scenario can result in the emergence of a monarchy or a family-based oligarchy. Another catalyst for revolution is fear. It can arise from individuals who have done wrong and fear punishment, or from those who anticipate mistreatment and seek to preempt their adversaries. Political upheavals can also originate from an imbalanced growth in any segment of the state. For instance, if there is a significant and disproportionate rise in the number of impoverished individuals in democracies and constitutional states, the likelihood of revolution occurring increases. Revolutions can be instigated through two means. One is force and the other is fraud. Force can be exerted either during the actual act of revolution or in its aftermath. Fraud, on the other hand, takes two forms. In the first, citizens are initially deceived into accepting a change in government and are later kept under control against their wishes. In the second form, people are initially convinced and then their loyalty and support are maintained through continued persuasion. Aristotle argues that more often than not, revolutions are incited by the unjust actions of rulers rather than unprovoked uprisings from the population or the governed. Nevertheless, his overall advice for averting revolution is clear, that is, any regime aspiring to maintain stability must avoid engaging in actions that make it unjust. Oligarchies should incorporate some democratic elements into their governing structure to mitigate their tendency to oppress the common people. Democracies, on the other hand, should enact laws that protect the property of the wealthy, and tyrannies should transition towards a more monarchical approach, emphasizing the rule of law and a moderate way of life, while refraining from antagonizing either the common people or the elite. Aristotle contends that tyrannies that take on a tyrannical character have shorter lifespans, while rulers who act more like benevolent kings, appearing as custodians rather than appropriators of their subjects' property, will enjoy a longer lasting reign. Aristotle lays out several strategies for preserving constitutional stability. He emphasizes the importance of fostering a spirit of obedience to the law among the population, as transgressions can lead to the deterioration of the state. Rulers should maintain good relations with both those excluded from the government and the governing classes, treating them with fairness. They must avoid wronging the ambitious concerning matters of honor and refrain from mistreating the common people in financial matters. Rulers should exhibit equality in their treatment of one another and their fellow citizens. Implementing term limits is crucial, as short tenures in office prevent the concentration of power within families and reduce the potential for significant harm by an office holder. On the other hand, prolonged tenure in office can lead to tyranny, thus destabilizing the state. Aristotle notes that a fundamental principle applicable to democracy, oligarchy, and all other forms of government is to avoid allowing any one citizen to experience a disproportionate increase in power and privileges. Instead, it is advisable to grant moderate honors over an extended period rather than bestowing great honors for a short time. In cases where this principle is not adhered to, Aristotle suggests that any sudden accumulation of honors should be gradually revoked rather than all at once. Aristotle advocates for vigilance regarding any disproportionate growth in wealth within the state. To address this concern, he proposes two remedies: either integrating the poor and the rich into a single societal unit or expanding the middle class. These measures serve to mitigate the potential for revolutions arising from inequality. The administration of every state, Aristotle argues, should be structured in a manner that prevents magistrates from easily accumulating wealth through their positions. People are generally not greatly bothered by being excluded from government, as they value the opportunity to focus on their private businesses. However, what truly frustrates them is the perception that their rulers are embezzling public funds, resulting in a loss of profit and integrity. This can be achieved by eliminating the possibility of profiting from public offices. In such a scenario, the poor would be less interested in seeking these positions, as they offer no financial gain, while the wealthy, who have no need for public funds, would be more inclined to take on these roles. The factors that lead to the downfall or preservation of monarchy and tyranny are similar to those found in other types of government. According to Aristotle, royal rule is essentially akin to aristocracy in its nature, while tyranny is a combination of oligarchy and democracy in their most extreme manifestations. The initial triggers for change in monarchies are parallel to those in constitutional forms of government. Subjects may rebel against their rulers due to fear, contempt, or even if they have been justly treated by them. Conspiracies against monarchies, be they tyrannical or royal, share common objectives with plots against other types of government. Monarchs hold substantial wealth and prestige which are desired by people in general. These attacks can manifest as threats to their lives or attempts to diminish their power. Tyrannies, similar to all other forms of government, face two primary sources of vulnerability. Externally, they can be overthrown by a stronger opposing government. Internally, the division within the ruling family can lead to their downfall. Men are motivated to challenge tyrannies mainly due to two factors. Hatred toward tyrants is almost inevitable, and contempt frequently contributes to their demise. As a result, we observe that those who have acquired power tend to retain it, whereas those who have inherited it often lose it. This is because those born into power, enjoying luxurious lifestyles, often become objects of contempt and offer numerous opportunities for their opponents. Aristotle also suggests that anger can be included within the category of hatred and has similar consequences. In fact, anger can be even more impulsive in inciting attacks, as those driven by anger often act hastily without adhering to rational principles. The preservation of royalty hinges on the restraint of its authority. The more limited the powers of kings, the longer their rule tends to endure without significant erosion. When kings exercise moderation and avoid excessive despotism, they become less the object of envy by their subjects. Aristotle believes that tyrannies, on the other hand, are preserved by adhering to traditional methods of governance as employed by most tyrants. These methods include removing individuals of high standing, eliminating spirited individuals, discouraging communal activities, clubs, and education, and preventing anything that could boost courage or confidence among their subjects. Tyrants take further measures to maintain their rule, such as recruiting spies to monitor the words and actions of their subjects. In contrast to kings who rely on the support of their friends to sustain their power, the defining trait of a tyrant is distrust of their friends, as they are aware that nearly all individuals harbor intentions of overthrowing them. Aristotle outlines a set of guidelines that a tyrant should follow to maintain their grip on power. These principles include refraining from extravagantly spending public funds on courtesans, artists, or outsiders, as well as keeping an account of their income and expenditures. Regardless of what virtues the tyrant may lack, they should at the very least project an image of a skilled soldier and create the impression that they embody such qualities. Furthermore, a tyrant should avoid displaying their vices to the public, as such behavior leads to swift contempt and opposition. Instead, they should strive to enhance and beautify their city, giving the impression that they act as guardians of the state rather than as oppressive tyrants. Demonstrating a profound commitment to the service of the gods is also crucial. When subjects perceive their ruler as religious and devout, they become less apprehensive about experiencing injustice and are less inclined to conspire against the ruler, believing that divine forces support them. Aristotle contends that a tyrant should present themselves to their subjects as a king or steward rather than as a tyrant. Their disposition should be virtuous, or at the very least partly virtuous, with a balance that is not excessively wicked but only partially wicked. In Book 7 of Politics, Aristotle argues it is difficult for a regime to last if its constitutions are contrary to justice. He emphasized this point by asserting that regimes which are least just, for example, oligarchies and tyrannies, tend to have the shortest lifespans. In fact, those regimes that are believed to have endured for a long period of time were not genuine tyrannies. In these cases, the individuals termed as tyrants acted more like constitutional monarchs or popular leaders. They either established a system based on the rule of law or governed in a manner designed to appease the general population. This was achieved through acts of exemplary public service in times of war, demonstrating a genuine concern for the common welfare and adopting a moderate approach to rule. In conclusion, Aristotle's theory on revolution, as explored in this lecture, provides profound insights into the causes, consequences, and potential remedies for political upheaval. His enduring wisdom, as articulated in his work politics transcends the boundaries of time and continues to shape contemporary political discourse. Aristotle's perspective on revolution delves into the complex interplay of human nature, governance, and social order. His core argument revolves around the idea that inequality, particularly the disconnection between political and economic power, serves as the primary catalyst for revolutions. He posits that revolutions are more likely to occur when there is incongruity between the political and economic status of different groups. This lecture has examined Aristotle's view on revolutions with various forms of government, such as democracies, oligarchies, aristocracies, monarchies, and tyrannies. He highlights the diverse factors that can lead to revolutionary shifts and provides practical examples to support his theory. He also outlines strategies for preserving constitutional stability and averting revolutions. He emphasizes the importance of a spirit of obedience to law, fair treatment of all citizens, and the avoidance of excessive power accumulation. He suggests that the key to longevity for any form of government is to prevent the concentration of power in one group. Aristotle's comprehensive theory sheds light on the intricate dynamics of political change and provides valuable guidance on how societies can preserve their constitutions and prevent revolutions. His profound contributions continue to resonate in the realm of political philosophy, offering timeless lessons for contemporary governance and social order. With this, we conclude today's lecture. Hope you benefited from listening to it. Thank you.